Except for the teachers, it's also good karate.
United World College is a place where students from all over the world gather to study an international curriculum. So we live here together, we work together, and the idea is to create a sense of international understanding between the students.
It's a lot of hard work, but it's also very interesting, very exciting sometimes, I find it.
Because if we have a chance to get to know about it, and we have a chance to get our prejudices away, we should.
Differences don't really matter because it's emphasizing the same things we have in common that is of such paramount importance.
And if we go back to home and bring with us this experience, I think that we will do something good.
I've learned that I can look at a white guy or a black guy and treat him the same way.
The thing about me being Israeli, and next room to me there's a Palestinian refugee. It's also part of it, like, you know, that I can talk to a person which, you know, under normal circumstances would be my enemy, theoretically, and he's my friend.
The person who had the concept was Kurt Hahn, who set up first Gordonston School in Scotland, subsequently the first Outward Bound School in 1940, and a number of other ventures which culminated in 1962 in Atlantic College. We've always tried to develop the idea which we expressed right at the beginning of working out some form of academic examination which would be common to all countries and accepted by all countries. We ourselves here at Atlantic College introduced it in 1971. It was a very big move for us totally to abandon the British national examinations in favor of the International Baccalaureate. This examination is now recognized in most countries of the world. It's been a great success. The age, 16 to 19, was chosen because this is the time when young people are open in their attitudes and eager for new experiences. The IB is hard work, it's challenging, but it's very exciting. Think of a history class with Germans, French, British students, students from the Third World. That is an academic experience which is not available in a national school.
But would you really? Because, no, you wouldn't have come to a place where you would study with black people, would you? If you really...
No one has ever treated me badly, I mean. As a South African, you're just another student here, you know. I mean.
I would never talk to a person from South Africa before I came here.
But if you want to understand someone, at least you've got to speak to him.
Okay, we are discussing, and we are quarreling now and then, but we get something out of it. And I know a lot about South Africa, which I didn't know. And I think you know a lot about Sweden. I mean, if we want international understanding, you got to have it. I mean, we got to have everything.
We expect students to become involved in a community service, often in quite a tough and specialist way. And that's most obvious in our coast rescue services. In the 20 years this college has been running, we have saved some 180 people now. We've answered at least 450 emergency call-outs. That is education in a very fundamental and important sense. One of the things that was clear to us from day one, back in 1962, was that if Atlantic College was to be the only one, the project was not worthwhile. I'm leaving here this summer to take up the headship of the new college of the Adriatic. And it's a very great thing for us now to look at the world map and see 6 spots, 6 United World Colleges, and how many more in the years to come.
We founded the school in association with the United World Colleges movement. And the first 3 or 4 years of the school's life, we were in association with the UWC, and then we were taken in as a full member in 1975. And this means that we try and inject a much greater sense of purpose into international education.
My name is Maina Mwangi, and I'm from Kenya in East Africa. I've been in Singapore slightly less than a year now. In Singapore, there's plenty of scope for the social service programs. My program is Tampines. Tampines is a home for mentally and physically handicapped children. It's difficult because it's hard to get some sort of feedback from them. In fact, in most cases, it's impossible to communicate with them. You see, you might go there one week and they're responsive, they're smiling at you, they're joking about. And then you go the next week and they're off. They're not in the mood for it, which really does depress you very much. But sometimes, just that once, when you do manage to break through, when you do manage to get them to smile at you, when you do manage to get them to recognize you, when you walk in, they smile, it does give you the feeling that you're not totally useless after all.
I always remember a fellow at Gordonston. I taught at Gordonston in Scotland for a year. Kurt Hahn started Gordonston, and he's the founder of United World Colleges. And they had a 50-foot sailboat, and they would take students down the west coast of Scotland. And I spoke to this skipper, George Shaw. I said, he has 10 students on board, and the kids had gone to bed, and we were sitting out at the back of the boat having a wee dram about 11 o'clock at night. And I said, George, what are you trying to do with these students when you have them on board for this 10 days? And he said, He said, I'm not trying to do anything. I'm taking this boat from A to B, and God and the sea does the rest. And that's a little bit of the approach of the United World Colleges.
When you join the service, you don't really know what's going to happen. But then you get so involved that you learn a lot more than you thought you could.
I took boat building, others took boat maintenance, others first aid, others radio. Before, you thought, well, I'll finish high school, and after high school I do university, I get my degree, and I go to work, I get married, and that's life. But now, there's a lot of other things to do. You just don't have to keep going in the one-way street that your father did or your mother did. It's basically been a big eye-opener to the world around you, to the different possibilities that you can do. And I guess this eye-opener has been different for all different people.
Well, besides the more exciting aspect of driving the boat and going up and down the waves, besides the feeling of accomplishment when you go and actually rescue somebody, it teaches you that sometimes you have to do what you're told, and it's one big thing that I learned here.
Something people sometimes can't understand, because how come you go to Pearson College and all this love and international understanding and that stuff, and you go back and you might have to shoot your friend, on the other side of the border. I finish here in May. I go back to Israel. I have to do 3 years of military service. It's different.
I started looking at the impression that people around the world about my own country, and I would sort of compare those impressions with what I think was reality, and it sort of gives me I think now a more objective idea.
In terms of type 2 questions, now we saw some technical concepts, headings of how we could tell.
I've realized a lot of the frailties of individuals in the sense of how many set values you have before you come to a place, and how difficult it is to not throw away the values, but retain your own, while at the same time seeing the strength in other values as well. I think that's a very positive thing about this college, and it applies to many students as well, that you are encouraged to do things that you thought you never could do.
so many things like this that are just worthwhile doing. You don't have to explain why they're worthwhile doing. Just do it and see what happens. Let God and the sea look after them.
I think there are numerous examples where former students have involved themselves in helping disadvantaged people, building villages or schools, all of them having inside them some desire to serve the ideals that they learnt with us.
In the early 1960s, a group of people in Johannesburg were concerned about the educational system in South Africa. The system was supposed to be separate but equal, but that doesn't always happen in many parts of the world, and certainly in Southern Africa. So the group in Johannesburg looked for a place where they could start a secondary school project with the idea that admission would be solely on academic merit, irrespective of color, creed, or parents' ability to pay private school fees. Soon after Swaziland achieved its independence in 1966, King Sibusa II visited here, and when he left, he said he would like to give us another name. He had found here, he said, a world in miniature. And so we became Waterford Kamhlaba, Kamhlaba meaning a little world.
At home, you'd find that a lot of people, a lot of Indians especially, would look up to a white guy and look down on a black guy, you know what I mean? Because you're taught to believe it, you know, that way. So I think coming to Waterford has helped me in that way.
No one takes it wrongly or anything. You don't make enemies just because of how you feel. Whereas in other schools, I know you'd be made like an outcast or something like that because you think differently from everyone else.
I think if I'd stayed in South Africa, in South African high school, there would be absolutely no chance in the world of me sitting around with a group of people like this, you know what I mean? Discussing something like this.
We feel it's very important that our students should have direct experience of the community in which we exist. And we're involved in a number of different areas.
I'm involved in a group that does eye testing with the primary school children, checking for short-sightedness, long-sightedness, and whether there are any styes or cataracts.
That light just right in the middle of her eye.
Yeah.
And that's not supposed to move, right?
You know, the group I'm in has found few children who actually have certain abnormalities in them, and we refer these to the local doctors.
I guess we are providing a visible sign of a possibility that people of various backgrounds can live together.
The majority of people don't realize that you can live together in a society like this and be happy and survive. And so I think that's the point of this school.
Yeah, but this place is still a very ideal society, and it's still...
It's
very
but
difficult
at least it works.
when you've left this place after having been here 7 years to get into a completely different society. It works here. It doesn't work there.
It can work.
It's not like this, and we know it, so we should go out into the world and try and, you know, share, give other people what we have got from this place.
But now, how many people do you really think are out there who really want to know about it, who aren't perfectly happy to go on the way they are now?
You try and show people, but there's a block.
Yeah. I'm not saying that it's going to change immediately, but it's a stepping stone. We're on our way somewhere.
Yeah, of course we are, but it's going to take long past your lifetime.
Yeah,
do you think?
Okay.
Yeah,
fine.
but then do you think that for you, this place has, you know, is going to change your life when you get out there? You're going to get out there and
my life, but it's changed my view on life.
I think the way to look upon the movement and the role of the international office in it is to think of a series of colleges which are self-administering, autonomous, spread around the world, and we hope growing in number. And from them emerging students who go out into the world and actually affect the hearts and minds of other people.
I had the great excitement of being present at the opening of Atlantic College, and It's an unusual opportunity to be in at the start of another new college. Our students are living not in a school, but in a village. They mix every day with the local people. It is imperative for our students to learn the local language, because without it, we cannot live here. They must, in a real sense, look after themselves. Our students are gaining first-hand experience of a dual culture. We have the Italian community and the Slovene community. We are sinking roots in the community, and we are establishing relationships which are not possible if you are in an isolated campus, however beautiful that is.
Israeliana.
My name is Yang Tao. I'm from Beijing. As a Chinese, a big challenge for me is to study Italian. The teacher teaches Italian in English, but at lunch and dinner, everybody must speak Italian, no exception. At the beginning, it's very hard.
One of our main tasks here is to try and do something to bridge the gap between the East and the West, between the different political systems. We are within 3 kilometers of the Yugoslav border. Our students are crossing the border almost every weekend for activities of various kinds. On their project weeks, our students go into Hungary and other countries of Eastern Europe. This area is marvelous. We have the mountains for climbing, walking, skiing. In the winter, we're skiing. In the summer, we're climbing.
Ski is a new sport for me, and it's interesting, it's fun. Most of the students are beginners, but many students from Canada, from Germany, teach the other. I came here to learn habits and traditions from other students from other countries. When you have a group united together, we can help each other.
In our college, everybody does social service. I go once a week with other students to a group of elderly people. We go there and stay a whole afternoon with them, trying to speak with them. We sing with the guitar. And we just try to make them forget about their situation. They are refugees from Istria, and so we asked them to tell their experiences, their lives. The first times that we went there, they just started saying, what can we tell you? We are just going to die, we are very old. And it was quite sad. But now they are happy, they look forward to see us, and every time we go they want to sing and say, what did you do in your college, and come and speak with me, and they come and greet us. And so you notice that what you are doing is something important, that it helps them.
I think that the origins of the international flavor of this movement probably started when a decision was taken to ask Lord Mountbatten to come and join the party. And really, it was he who named the movement the United World Colleges. And from the time that he came upon the UW scene in 1968, the whole affair took on an international flavor. Now, he, in 1978, turned over his work as president of the International Council to Prince Charles, who is now continuing the work in a very significant way. But I do know that Lord Mountbatten really put his stamp on this movement. He went about the world energetically, setting up something like 40 different national committees himself, and inspiring everybody and getting the United World College movement as a whole better known.
Lord Mountbatten spent a great deal of time when he first started his interest in this scheme in going around different countries and bullying people into forming committees. And he was extremely good at getting everybody up against a wall and saying, you bloody won't form a committee. Eventually they'd say, yes, all right, all right. Anything but leave me alone. And he was very successful at getting these committees formed, and they try to raise a certain amount of money for scholarships and so on to send the students. And of course, it all depends on the major and very generous benefactors we'll have, like Dr. Hammer. I mean, without Dr. Hammer's interest and commitment, there was no way in which we could have had a college in the United States.
Hi, I'm Ashley from Israel.
Oh, how do you do? Very happy to see you.
Hi, I'm Charles Barnett from the Bahamas. I'm from Bahamas.
Italy.
I'm from Senegal.
Shauna from Nebraska. Nice to meet you.
I'm Riyadh from Palestine.
It's a most unusual thing in higher education in this country to begin an institution virtually from scratch within 1 year. We had concluded we should be in the West or Southwest. We were looking for a community where we could have mountain search and rescue teams, and there is something about the Southwest when within a few miles of the campus you can still see the ruts of the Santa Fe Trail. In what is an interesting area because it represents the old Spanish culture, Indian culture, and the American. Many of the services of the state of New Mexico for the elderly, the handicapped, are here so that we will be able to make a significant contribution to the community services. Our blueprint follows that of the other United World Colleges. That is, that we will maintain a relatively small population of students and faculty so that everyone knows everyone else. We'll also be offering exclusively the International Baccalaureate diploma, very rigorous academic program which for American students permits them to enter the second year of a college or university.
Las magias están deliberadamente mezcladas.
Hey, quick. The Treaty San Stefano was in
1878.
Very good. I just had to make the translation from French.
Well, I know.
I think I'm always willing to learn from everybody the things they're different in, the ways they're different in. To know about them. They're just like neighbors or family members you don't know. You want to know them.
You learn a lot from other customs, the good things in there. Although it may be different, but you can adapt yourself to that if you really wish to do it.
We are from different countries, and systems are different, and ways of life, but still we are living together, and we're always together, and we are friends, I think.
We are going to the deeper problems of mind and heart, of interpersonal conflicts, which after all is what national conflict is all about, isn't it?
The very worst that can happen is 106 students are going to come out of here better people. That's the worst that can happen. The best that can happen is 106 students are going to come out of here, and hopefully they're going to go somewhere, and hopefully maybe lives may be saved, maybe something good can happen to the world. At the moment, we don't know whether it's going to happen or not, but we can always hope, can't we?
Already in different countries, as I understand it, the United World College program is really respected and revered by the governments that send the students there. In the United States, not so much yet, but it's getting there.
If we really try, if we really make an effort, we can surely there's a chance for us. There's a chance for peace.